In entrepreneurship, what I've heard from so many small business owners over the years is that it can be a really lonely endeavor, right? It can be a really draining endeavor.
Right.
It's something we talk a lot about in the 10,000 Small Businesses curriculum. Know your numbers, financials, financials, financials. It can be really daunting for many entrepreneurs to crack open their QuickBooks and really understand what it's telling them, but it's powerful to be informed and empowered by your numbers so that you're making smart decisions for your business.
All right, everyone. So Ann Wellde is a 2023 Millennium Leadership Fellow, and she's also the National Director of Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program, a commitment by the Goldman Sachs Foundation to catalyze the growth of America's small business community. She is phenomenal. Let me just say this. I went through the Goldman Sachs program as a scholar, and when I first interacted with Ann, not only was she warm and open and hospitable and very professional, but she just came across as somebody who you just want to kick it with, somebody who you want to go have coffee with and hang out and talk about life. And so she has so many accomplishments, so many amazing achievements. She is responsible for developing and executing the strategy to reach small business owners in rural and urban communities across the United States. And now, prior to her current role, Ann was the deputy director of the 10,000 Small Business Program. And previously, before that, she was the CEO, or the chief operating officer, for a healthcare technology company that was focused on developing cancer therapies that align with the clinical trial infrastructure available to patients. And that's just a snippet of all of her accomplishments. But let's go ahead and get started. So as we talk about this book, Thriving Through Transitions, transitions are such a major part of life, aren't they? And they hit us at different parts of our life. And no one transition is the same all the time. Can you talk about transitions as it relates to your life, where you are right now, and how you see things unfolding for you in the next few years?
Sure. I think as I reflect on kind of transitions in my life, I think one of the biggest ones in my relatively recent past was the transition from working in that early stage startup to working here at Goldman Sachs on the 10,000 Small Businesses program. We spent in a startup environment, as you as an entrepreneur know, right? You spend every single day navigating a whole new set of challenges, a whole new set of questions, trying to make smart choices, often with imperfect information. And as I think back on that experience, it was really powerful to learn that there often aren't right answers to things. There's not only one answer to things. And I think that lesson is something that I've really taken forward in my current role for both for myself and something I encourage across my team, which is there are often many ways to get at the next step, right? Or the next solution or the next opportunity. There's
Right.
not one way. But so long as the approach that you're taking is well reasoned, considered, thoughtful, brings in the right perspectives and the right voices, then you've got a good answer, right? You might
Yeah.
not have the right answer because most situations don't even have a right answer, but you've
Yeah.
got a good one. And I think, as I've reflected on transitions, I've tried to take that same approach, right?
Right.
There's not often a right answer, but there are many good ones. So how do you get as close to great as possible as you're contemplating all of those variables?
Yeah. So, and a lot of the people that are going to be reading this book are our fellow business owners, high achievers, people who are considered to be leaders in their community. What do you tell someone who is going through a period of transition and they're kicking and screaming with both feet, but they are trying to develop or maintain consistent habits just so that they can take care of their well-being? I guess the question would be, what are some of the habits that you have put in practice that have led to your success today in helping to navigate transitions?
Well, something that I think I would share with any small business owner, and it's a lesson that I could probably stand to take myself, is that you've got to take care of yourself first, right? You've got to find whatever
Mhm.
balance is right for you. You've got to find whatever outlet is right for you, and really invest in the things that fill your cup, because that is, as we all know, right? You can't pour from an empty cup, and so that first and foremost, right? And in entrepreneurship, what I've heard from so many small business owners over the years is that it can be a really lonely endeavor, right? It can be a really draining endeavor.
Right.
So, definitely prioritizing ways that you can fill your own cup, put on your own oxygen mask.
Yes.
But I think even beyond that, in terms of habits that have led to kind of where I am today, I think one, doing what you say you're going to do, right?
Oh, I love that.
Showing up with consistency, being somebody that people know they can hold to account. they can take
Mm,
their word for. I think a big part of that too is showing up with authenticity, bringing your whole self to your job or to your endeavor, to your project or whatever it might be. And then as I think about kind of growth, I think I've always wanted to make sure that I was really understanding the perspectives and the motivations of people around me
mhm,
so that I could help better steer us towards solutions or next steps or evolution. It's really hard to build consensus when you don't know
mhm.
what's motivating somebody. So really bringing an inquisitive spirit and mind to dialogue with folks so that they're able to move forward. So I think those are a couple things that would come to mind.
I love what you said about keeping your word. I love that. And I've observed that about you. I've seen you actually, you just say something, but you follow through on what you say you're going to do. It's like you honor your word to yourself. Have you found that honoring your word to yourself builds your confidence and your faith in you so that when you get ready to go through transition, you say, I've done harder things. What's that conversation dialogue for you internally?
Yeah, I think absolutely. I think by being somebody who really prioritizes keeping my word to others, to those around me, it also means that I do that for myself. And I think that has shored me up in moments of transition and also moments of uncertainty to
Mhm.
kind of know what the right path is, right? Know what my true north is. On the same token, though, it can be a challenge to also then be flexible, right? To say, how do I have new information now? Do I need to adjust? Right? I said this one thing, it was the right answer at the time with the information I had. Do I need to pivot? Right. And so giving those around me the grace to do that, I think is a lot
Yeah.
easier than giving myself the grace to do that. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
but really trying to prioritize that too, right? Because
Yes.
things do change. And that's
Yeah.
exactly what transitions are.
Right. I'd love to hear your perspective on this. I once heard someone say that as visionaries, leaders, and high achievers, one of the enemies of our success is not new ideas, because we can have new ideas a dime a dozen. The enemy of many of our success is fatigue,
Mm,
just getting worn out. First of all, do you agree with that? And then second of all, well, what do you tell someone who's battling fatigue? They've got the self-care, they're doing that, but they've still got this fatigue that just seems to follow them. What do you tell someone like that who's carrying fatigue into a period of transition?
yeah, I think it's actually something that you experienced when you were taking 10,000 small businesses, right? The whole
Yes.
question around how do you separate a good idea from a good opportunity, right?
Oh, yeah.
Entrepreneurs have lots of good ideas. There is no shortage of amazing ideas, new
Mhm.
products, new services, new locations, all of that. They're not all good opportunities though, right? And so I think it's really important, particularly when somebody is starting to hit up against that fatigue threshold. Say,
Mhm.
okay, what's a good opportunity, right? And that's different.
Mhm.
That's what's right for your business, right for you, right for your
Mhm.
family, your loved ones. It's got to hit on kind of all of those markers,
Yeah.
the right thing to do. And I think being able to parse through that can really ease some of that fatigue.
Mhm.
Otherwise, you're chasing down, a million good ideas, but they might not be right for right now. They might not be right
Mhm.
for the strategy you're executing. And so I think staying focused, as hard as it can be, is really one of the most critical things to consider, just because, like I said, entrepreneurs have no shortage of good ideas.
Yeah.
It really
Yeah.
comes down to what's the good opportunity.
I love that. Something you said just reminded me of that Chinese proverb that says, "Man who chases two rabbits catches neither one."
Mm,
I love that.
yeah.
So, speaking of that, what are some of the ways with your position, with your resume, your track record, all of your accomplishments? I know you're constantly being pulled on. What are some of the ways you graciously say no and
Mm.
still preserve the relationship? Like you still have a friendship after that, but you say, you know what, not right now and not next year either. So what what are some of those ways you say no?
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head, right? That is such a challenging thing for folks to do. I think I often find that not only, I think I should say, life is long, right? And I think that's where I always try to think of not
Mm,
closing doors too soon. And so I loved even your framing and asking that question, which
mm,
is not this year.
mm.
I'm in the fortunate position of meeting incredible organizations, incredible entrepreneurs every single day, right?
Yeah,
Folks that are
yeah,
serving small business owners themselves, folks that are working across kind of the economic development landscape. And while there might not be an opportunity today, I always try to say, not this year, but I'm
mhm.
glad I know what you're doing, right? I'm
Exactly.
benefited by knowing what you are contributing to the world and to this
Right.
community that we care deeply about. And I think that that's really how I approach it, right? A no can be not this year, and
Right.
let's continue to learn more about what one another are doing. And I find that by approaching it with that spirit, it doesn't feel like a no. It just feels like we're going to continue the conversation in a different context.
Exactly. I love your positive framing with that because it gives you breathing room to say, I don't feel obligated to give you a yes right now. There's something called a calendar, and I can plan 3 years out if I have to. I remember Brendan Burchard once called it a battle board. It's really just a giant calendar, but on top of it, I say battle board. These are my goals for each year. Like this is the year of the book. This is the year of the event. This is the year of the so if anything doesn't align with that focus, I mean, it's a no. So I love your framing with that. Okay, so I want to pivot here and ask, have there been any significant periods of transition in your own life? And of course, all of us have had that. So what did you learn from that? And how has it shaped you into who you are today?
I think, yeah, there have been many. You know, as somebody who likes to know what's around the corner, it
Me
was
too.
it was a powerful lesson that you can have a 5 year plan all you want. Life
Mhm.
is going to unfold, and
Yeah.
so I think back to the point about kind of finding that flexibility. Something that has really resonated with me in moments of transition is something that I had to kind of always learn the hard way a little bit, which
Mm.
is that change creates opportunity. Earlier in my career, I think it was easy to feel unmoored by big changes in the professional environment around me. A new boss, somebody leaving, a reorganization, a new mandate, a new strategy. All of those things felt seismic. And as I've progressed in my career, what I think has really become clear to me is that change creates opportunity. It is not only something that people endure, but it's also something that people often thrive in. And I think to be open to the opportunities that change creates, I think only means good things for your own success, the success of your team, of the organization. And so I think there have been many points in my career where there were big changes, and reframing those changes from upheaval to opportunity, I think it's been a really powerful mindset shift.
Wow, I love that. You know what? Your comment just reminded me of a question that we've been taught to ask, and that is when you hit up against a obstacle, instead of saying, "Woe is me, I can't believe this just happened," the question becomes, "What does this make possible?" And your comment about change creates opportunity, because I'm gonna be honest with you, Anne, I'm not thinking, when some transition hits, I'm not thinking, okay, let's look at the opportunity in this. I'm thinking, what in the world? You
Yep.
know,
Yep.
you're like, I don't believe that just happened. I don't believe she just did that. I don't believe that he just did, you're like, you're human. And so we have human emotions. So how long does it take you to get to that point where you say, okay, there's an opportunity in this transition?
It depends on what it is, right? Sometimes it's
Right.
just not responding to the email for an hour or two, right? Collect
Right.
thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes it's giving yourself the weekend to think on something. Sometimes
Mhm.
it's, you know, going home and hashing it out with my husband to kind of talk through an approach. There's no one answer.
Exactly.
But I do
Yeah.
think that, whatever it is, it often includes take a beat, step back
Mhm.
from the situation, and then you might be able to see some opportunity, or at least the glimmer
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah. Oh, that's so powerful. And as driven leaders, that can be so hard for us to take a beat because a lot of us have a tendency to think fast and come to conclusions very quickly. And so taking that beat, taking a pause that's going to help someone big time. So thank you for saying that. So who are some of your heroes in the business space or even in your personal life that have helped you grow and get to where you are today?
Yeah, it's such a great question. I think I have to go with a personal one.
Awesome. Good.
A personal hero of mine is my grandmother. She was just this Renaissance woman before her time. She was a civil servant for the U.S. federal government when she met my grandfather working in Germany. Then it turns out
Oh,
they had grown up an hour away from one another in Pennsylvania.
wow.
They had 5 kids together, including my dad. My grandfather, unfortunately, passed away unexpectedly quite young. And my grandmother was there raising 5 children. They lived abroad for a number of years. They moved back to the US. And she, amid all of that major transition, continued to reinvent herself. She
Wow.
not only raised 5 wonderful children, she started her own business. She was an entrepreneur at a time when women's entrepreneurship was not what it is today. And then in all of her spare time, she also wrote a cookbook, which now
Hi,
sits
really?
very prominently on my bookshelf at home.
Oh, wow.
All while then being a caring and loving and dynamic and hilarious grandmother to the whole next
Oh,
generation. So she was the epitome of thriving through transition.
oh, I love that. What was her name?
Kathy.
Kathy. Oh, and is Kathy's cookbook still available? Can we find it on Amazon? Or is it
Unfortunately not.
it's only special to you and those close in your family? I get that. Oh, wow. I love hearing that. And how do you feel you today are living out Kathy's legacy, your grandma's legacy?
Mm-hmm. I would say, in one particular way, Kathy had a fantastic sense of humor. You could
Oh,
always find the joke. She was quick and hilarious. She made people feel comfortable
mm.
by with her humor, and I think that's something that I saw modeled in her. I think it's certainly something I do with those around me. That's one very small way that I think I try to carry on her legacy of warmth.
Oh my gosh, I love that. So now I got to get together with you in person again so I can see that hilarious side even all the more.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
love it. I love it. Okay, final question before we bring it in for a landing. And that is, let's say you're speaking at a local university to a group of brand new entrepreneurs. They're right at the starting line. What are 3 or 4 pieces of advice you would give for those just starting out?
It's a great question. You know, the first one I'm going to give. You have to take 10,000 small businesses. That,
Yes. Woo!
as everyone knows, it is a practical education program for small business
Mm,
owners
amazing.
designed to equip small business owners with all the tools to grow their businesses and create jobs in their local communities. So that's one, got to put in a plug
Okay.
there. Two, I would say something we talk a lot about in the 10,000 Small Businesses curriculum, know your numbers, financials,
Mm,
financials, financials. It can be really daunting for many entrepreneurs to crack open their QuickBooks and really understand what it's telling them, but it's powerful to be informed and empowered by your numbers
mm,
so that you're making smart decisions for your business. I think the third thing I would say is surround yourself with a board of advisors.
mm.
Build out the team that is going to be there for you, that's going to be your sounding board, that's going to help you parse out those good ideas from those good opportunities. Um,
Right.
really prioritize building that network of advisors, that board of advisors. And I think what we've seen through 10,000 Small Businesses is the more diverse, the better, right? Different business types, business ownership structures, all of that makes a difference
Yeah.
because everyone has something to share and you
Yeah.
can learn something from folks from all walks of life.
Yes, yes. Oh, I love it. I love all 3 of those, and I resonate with each one of them, especially number 1, and of course, number 3 as well. I really believe in surrounding yourself with the right people. Knowing your numbers is a great thing too, but let me tell you, me and QuickBooks, we've had a deep dive into, just getting more comfortable with one another. Because yeah, knowing your numbers is huge, so thank you for that. But I will say this, and as we wrap it up, as an alumni of the 10,000 Small Business Program, it was a dream come true to be able to walk across that stage, and my eyes were filled with tears of gratitude when I did, because the way that I saw Goldman Sachs pour into each of those entrepreneurs, you all treated us so well. I mean, the program was wonderful. Yes, it took everything from us for 3 intensive months, or more like 6 intensive months. But when we got together in person, it just solidified so much. It was worth every moment, and the relationships that we've been able to form. It was thank you. I just say thank you. That experience will forever go down. I have my award right behind me. That's how prominent I keep it. My certificate there, because it was a hard program, but it was worth every single moment. And the generosity of Goldman Sachs is like nothing I've ever seen when it comes to small business owners. So thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you. This program is only possible because of the incredible network of entrepreneurs that we have the privilege of working with, and so we are so grateful that you and so many others have found value from the 10,000 Small Businesses program.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being here today, Anne. I am excited for what's getting ready to come, and the book will come out shortly, you all. And you can find a link to more in the chat. We'll see you soon.